Hey everybody, Michael Snyder, California Weather Watch. Today's February 23rd, and right now we're looking at the infrared/visible satellite imagery. You can see the Hawaiian Islands to the bottom left. There's this data, California. Check out some high clouds moving up over the area. Not expected to produce precipitation. Might be knocking down some of that fog formation, though. This is our next weather maker, this cutoff low here, but it's going to be spinning over the water for a bit, and it's going to lose some of its punch, but that will bring some precipitation back into the state. A bit of mountain snow as well as a powerful polar lobe kind of moves down out of the northwest and helps kick that through. There's also going to be help with a subtropical jet as well, but not expecting a very strong storm system with that one. But looking at the extended, we have some pretty cold air spilling out over the Gulf of Alaska and taking aim at California. We'll dive into those details. We'll go through the video here this morning as well. This is Los Angeles National Weather Service. Low rainfall amounts dominating the probabilities here, and you can see they do have some moderate out there. That might be on the wane, though. The system has been weakening in some of the most recent model runs. More on that here in a bit. This is Eureka, California, talking about, nice sunny days out there for many areas here as we go through today and tomorrow. Little sneaker wave icon there for Sunday, and then some precipitation starts to return and maybe some mountain snow as we go on in through early next week. I also wanted to point this out as well. We're going to be dealing with these offshore winds today, gusting, around 40 miles per hour, maybe low 40s for some local areas out there. So heads up for that offshore flow. Not a strong event by any means, but you'll notice the gusty winds out there. And then as we scroll through tomorrow, you notice that gradient really start to weaken as we go through Saturday afternoon, and we start to turn things back on shore again as that powerful polar lobe swoops down across some of western Canada and the Pacific Northwest and swings through much of the west. You can kind of see the wind start to pick up right at the end of the North American model run and start to kick things back offshore with our cutoff low off the coastline there, eventually trying to kick through as we go through the day Monday. Looking at the current hazards, we have the wind advisories here for some of those gusty offshore winds here, but not too big of a deal. Much of the state pretty quiet here for the next couple of days. Risk-heavy precipitation does exist as we go through the early portions of March for much of the west coast here, and moderate for northern and central California. Here's the risk of heavy snow that does exist as well. Might be a favorable snow pattern here coming up. More on that here in a bit. And if you want a nice affordable home weather station, click on that link down below to save 10% off. Lightning detection system stores all the data for you in the cloud. Highly recommend. Now, this is the European ensemble mean. So this is the average of all 50 European ensemble members. All 50 of those members are tweaked their initial conditions to try to correct for any errors we have in our initial understanding of the atmospheric conditions. You can see that cutoff low spinning off the coastline, taking its sweet time, finally gets picked up by this trough, and the subtropical jet drives it back across the area, but it's been weakening in recent model runs. But then if we look through the extended forecast, it's showing a nice shot of cold air for California. Could be a nice period of mountain snow building here as we go through early March. So cross your fingers for that one. We'll continue to watch that and break it down day by day. But first things first, let's look at that cutoff low kind of spinning off the coast, taking its sweet time. But by the time we go through Sunday afternoon, we might start kicking some precipitation back into the state right there Sunday night. But you can see it's fairly light for much of the state here. You can see it's not bringing any moderate precipitation. Doesn't look like back into Southern California. However, the models are probably not handling this quite well, and I'm not ruling out some moderate rainfall getting back into Southern California with that. And then we start to deal with this colder air moving down across the Gulf of Alaska and potentially taking aim at California as we go through early March. If we look at 10,000 feet, I always like to show what's going on at the upper levels of the atmosphere, kind of give you a nice pictorial of what's going on. You can see that cutoff low. It does start to moderate, of course, as all cutoff lows do. Eventually gets picked up by the subtropical jet and this trough, and it starts to bring precipitation chances back into the state. So hopefully that brings a nice round of snowfall here. I mean, we don't need much more rainfall across many areas of California, doing quite well, but we can always use more snow across the Sierra Nevada. And then we scroll off into the extended, and you can kind of see that polar lobe kind of swinging all the way down the west coast here. That would be favorable for mountain snow building as well in the extended forecast. Looking at total precipitation in inches, this is the national blend of models. Look at that cutoff low, wasting all its precipitation out over the open ocean. Then it spreads it back in. You can see generally just lighter amounts here and bigger amounts across the Sierra Nevada with some of this northwest flow running back into the mountains with this chillier air mass, that polar lobe kind of swinging down across the northwest and much of the west. So hopefully that can bring a nice round of snowfall here as we go through the early to midweek period. And then that cooler system starts to arrive here as we go on into early March. Again, bringing additional rounds of precipitation and again, hopefully building some of that snowpack. If we look at that total snow, so let's scroll through here. We're now going on into Sunday, and you can see it does start to kick up late Sunday night into Monday. We get some snow across the higher terrain again. And as we go through Monday afternoon and on in through Tuesday, you can see maybe a nice little round of snowfall there. But then the better chances come as we go into early March, that much colder air moving down across the Gulf of Alaska, off the coast of California, and slamming back into the higher terrain, hopefully bringing some lower snow levels with that as well. Now, if you want to do some traveling, these are great days to do it. Most of the roadways, passes are bare and dry right now. As always, kind of check before you go, but you can see there's no compact snow and ice on any of these across the highways 395 or I-80 at this point. Great time to run your errands and get back and forth. Looking at the National Blend of Models, just kind of showing you how the progression of temperatures are going. As we go through tomorrow, you can see some 70s starting to come for some of the valley areas, and of course the desert areas are warmer, maybe getting into the low 80s for Death Valley out there. Some nice conditions this time of year especially. But as you see, as we go on in towards Monday and Tuesday, we start to cool things down as that cutoff low starts to move into the area here. Then we bounce back a bit, and then we bring maybe another pattern change here as we go through early March. You can definitely see the temperatures cooling down as we get towards Sunday, March 3rd. We'll watch that day by day. 6 to 10 day precipitation. Take these with a grain of salt, but it does show the continued above average signal here for much of the west. Here's the 8 to 14 day as well. And 8 to 14 day temperature, kind of keeping things below normal as we go through March 7th. We'll see how that trends. This is looking at snow water equivalent. You can see many areas doing much better than they were. Some areas getting back up towards normal right now. And you can see we got pretty nice snowpack going on. And this shows the change over the last 30 days. So some areas picking up some huge snow water equivalent amounts across the higher terrain. Great to see it. Here's the drought monitor as well. You can see California drought free officially. A couple areas have some abnormally dry, but there are still some drought conditions across Arizona and New Mexico. A little bit across Nevada, but Nevada overall doing quite well also. So anyway, we'll continue to break this down here. Just because the model's backed off does not mean this still could not pack a bit of a punch for California. They notoriously have a hard time with storm development off to the southwest of California when they're down here spinning around here, and it's still yet to be seen just exactly what that's going to do. But we have a couple days to figure it out. The model should have a better handle on it again tomorrow, and as we get closer to that system moving inland here, and we got some interesting stuff through the extended forecast, so check back daily for the latest on that. Hope you guys are liking these videos. Click like and subscribe. We'll do this again tomorrow, and I will talk to you guys then.